Alright, going on. Let's see what we got here.
We do see that.
Ark did pull a win over Big E, and a Profiteer beat Ace Windu, but we're not going to do any more of the first round games. We're going to move on to at least one more second round game, and then we'll go on to the semifinals. And I think the more interesting game is going to be the win that Dr. D pulls over Fizzer here. I believe that Hedja even said that hey beat him in 3 turns. So that's
Okay.
obviously not going to be on our list. Right here.
Okay, so with Dr. D versus Fizzer, we do see that Fizzer focusing on Colombia and then Myanmar and then New South Wales. Really varied bonuses in different 3 bonuses and then 1 in Australia.
Huh.
Which is a interesting start.
I'm gonna have to ask Fizzer what he was exactly thinking on this, because the Australia pick was very odd. I don't know, because it's very slow. I mean, I would kind of understand it if he had the Indonesia bonus, pick as well. Then Australia becomes more viable, but with just Australia alone, this was a very weird pick.
Yep.
So,
and then we do see Dr. D going for Myanmar, and then his second one being Papua New Guinea, so that's a effective guaranteed counter pick. And then Cuba and Colombia.
honestly, I don't see why nobody picked both Scandinavia and West Russia, because I felt like, well, I guess not because of the wastelands around it. There's no real moving after that, but huh. I think, yeah, this game is more about positioning. So I Dr. D obviously has the advantage with the positioning, because he's going to be able to effectively counter Australia. He's going to have Southeast Asia, and then he's going to be able to see that Fizzer is either in Central America or South
Yeah.
America. So,
and he's going to have Cuba to counter Central America as well. So he's probably going to have a knowledge advantage over Fizzer.
And he's going to have a pick advantage. So this Dr. D has quite a good advantage over here.
And we do see that Dr. D getting his first, second, and 5th pick. So he knows that Fizzer has both Cuba and Colombia.
Alright, in the chat, Fizzer says that Ost is safe because of the wasteland in Antarctica. He was not anticipating a pick from Indonesia, so yeah.
Okay. And we see that Dr. D getting his first, second, and 5th, giving him knowledge of Cuba and Colombia, while Fizzer gets his first, 3rd, and 4th pick. So he knows that Dr. D has Myanmar, but that's it. So Dr. D having a knowledge advantage from those starts, knowing it, letting him know Cuba and Colombia. And then, interestingly, Dr. D moves from Papua New Guinea to Solomon Island. Well, not interestingly, because he doesn't know that Fizzer's in Australia, and personally, I would not expect him to be down there either if I started in Indonesia.
If I started in Indonesia, I don't see why you would go for Papua New Guinea first. I would move straight into Borneo.
Papua New Guinea was the starting location. He moved to
I'm
Solomon
sorry,
Islands.
I'm sorry, Solomon Islands. Yeah, I mean, you would have moved. I would have rather moved into Borneo so that I would have coverage over the entire bonus. So,
well, he does have it thanks to Thailand, but that's the only reason.
But oh yeah, you're right, because of Thailand. I still, would have moved into Borneo so that I could have that positioning. But right here, um, Fizzer makes a good move of going for South America first because it's a 4 bonus and there's just best way to expand. And obviously we see the looming prediction coming here from Australia and Indo that this is just not going to be a good matchup for Fizzer.
Yep. And we do see that Fizzer, instead of getting Central America, goes for South America, which I think was really the best choice to go for. For some reason, I initially expected him to go for Central America.
And the reason he doesn't is because Central America would be not as efficient
Yeah,
as South
they would
America.
both be 2
So
turns.
yeah, so he makes a better choice. So I like it.
Yep.
I really like it.
Okay, and we see in turn 2.
X says, I think interesting move is
Uh,
equivalent to stupid move. Alright, yes.
yep, and we see in turn 2, Dr. D finishing off Southeast Asia, while Fizzer gets South America, and then Dr. D nearly finishes off Scandinavia as well, but he's still at 1 territory away. So next turn he will probably have a reinforcement advantage, and then that's also when he's probably going to find out that Fizzer is likely in Australia, depending upon where Fizzer moves next turn. Oh, it appears that Fizzer's just going for all of it this turn, and he does see 2 territories of Dr. D in Indonesia, and Dr. D sees Australia.
I think Fizzer's thought process here is, oh shit.
I think they're both like that.
because Dr. D sees that, oh shit, because this obviously means Fizzer probably has the bonus. But Dr. D having those 2 borders as Australia and not having Indonesia really lets him counter Australia very effectively.
hmm
I saw it coming.
And in the background, Dr. D finishing off Scandinavia, giving him a few extra guys. He's still down by 3 guys, 3 reinforcements, but that lets him be a little bit more offensive, or he could
Okay,
possibly try to expand with it next turn.
Fizzer says that he thought he had Indonesia at this point, and there's nothing telling him otherwise that
hmm
this would be the case. Uh, so he is actually calculating Dr. D at 12 at this point, I would think, or around 12. So it's
Yeah.
good. So he knew he had the incomplete at this point.
Turn 14, we do see Fizzer putting a lot in Western Australia, probably a lot more than Dr. D was expecting him to put, and they both appear they trade. Yeah, they do. Well, not really trade because Dr. D didn't lose his bonus, but he's now threatening Thailand. Fizzer's threatening Thailand, and
At this
Dr. D breaks Queensland.
at this point, it's yeah. Fizzer had Dr. D had Indonesia, this move would have turned out much better for Fizzer, but obviously we can see that poor Fizzer um, uh, realizing that Dr. D does not have Indonesia, and this puts Fizzer back for pretty much the rest of the game. I think at this point it's not close enough to call game over, but it the advantage goes straight to Dr. D at this time.
hmm And we see next turn both of them getting their reinforcement cards. Fizzer finishing off Central America, and then some a big attack in Thailand doesn't work out for him.
Fizzer tells us to note the fact that Dr. D tried to blockade in Malaysia, which was pretty much a waste of
Oh,
blockade.
yeah, I did miss that. Yep, he did try.
So that was a missed card for him. That I think the card still goes through. So
Yeah,
yeah,
the card is still used, unfortunately
ouch.
for him.
Yeah, so that puts Dr. D at a disadvantage of cards.
Yep. And then on turn 5, Fizzer gets the reinforcement lead back by getting Central America, giving him a 12 to 11 advantage, while Dr. D is working on West Russia.
Yeah. So Dr. D is getting close to having the income advantage back. Dr. D has the army advantage at this point. So not by much though.
5 armies.
But the positioning advantage is more key at this point. Fizzer, interestingly enough, has a good way to start expanding into all of the U.S., which rarely happens because of all the wastelands. But because of the wasteland system, he's actually able to keep expanding up there. So it's very interesting.
Mm-hmm. Turn 6, showing that he is indeed trying to do that a little bit. And then it appears that Fizzer is giving up in Indonesia, or at least, well, giving up on breaking Thailand, and then moves to Borneo instead.
Alright, Fizzer says at this point his thought process is turn this into a long game, which does put the advantage back into Fizzer, making it a long game. And he decides to start try to blockade Oz and start expanding and keep himself going in Indonesia.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we can see that he has lost the advantage at this point, but interestingly enough, Fizzer is going to keep on straggling along.
Yep, that's really the best course of action he could have taken at this point.
Yeah, some people would actually make the mistake of keep on pressuring and like very hard in Indonesia instead of just keep it alive. So a very good move coming from Fizzer to switch his gameplay mentality at midway here.
Okay.
So,
yep. With that blockade in Tasmania, then obviously Australia is dead, and then he's hoping to stay alive in Borneo. With Dr. D not hitting him in Malaysia, that makes it a little bit easier for him to stay alive. But in the next turn, he does move to Philippines, and it really isn't threatened much at all. I mean, he does. Dr. D hits Malaysia, but only with a couple guys, while he's finishing off West Russia, giving him a 3 army advantage, reinforcement advantage.
Fizzer, at this point, do you realize that your opponent has scanned and West Russia? I mean, did you anticipate those picks? I mean, we can keep on going. He's eventually going to reply to me.
Eventually, the delay is noticeable. But, we do see Dr. D going into Hawaii.
So, yeah. So you realize that he does have something, but you don't really care
He's
at this
not really
point what it
concerned
is.
with what.
So, right here, very interesting that, yeah, physicists are untouchable to him at this point anyways. Right here where Dr. D, knowing that Fizzer has Cuba and Colombia, starts going into Hawaii, which is going to help him out a lot because now Dr. D is able to pressure Fizzer, kills one pick completely for Fizzer, and Dr. D is able to anticipate and move against Fizzer in West US and on.
Indeed.
Sadly, after this game, I'm going to have to leave. I have some errands to run.
Okay. Okay, we do see that the next turn, Fizzer manages to defend and capture all of West US, which gives him the reinforcement advantage. And he does manage to stay alive in Indonesia.
Very odd that he's able to stay alive in Indonesia. I think Dr. D played a sort of weird move out.
He's playing very passively over there, not really being aggressive.
I feel like at this point you need to be aggressive and get Fizzer out of Indonesia. This is why the game ends up going much longer than normal, because had he been able to close off Indonesia, I think Fizzer would have realized that the ball was definitely not in his court and would have surrendered at that point.
Well, he hit Philippines only with 4, so that's really not enough to take you if you had just left your 4 guys in Philippines instead. So you would have kept one of them. And then turn 9, both of them playing their second reinforcement cards because they've been getting cards every turn. And both of them played their order priority cards.
Hmm.
Oh, and Dr. D gets his order priority in, not Fizzer, so Fizzer gets beat out and loses Indonesia. And then Fizzer's big stack in California just grows and grows, and he doesn't end up attacking. And this turn, we do see that Fizzer does not get his card bonus, his card piece.
This is gonna really hurt Fizzer. The fact that Dr. D was finally able to close off Indonesia, which I thought he should have been able to do last turn, but
Yeah.
right here is very it's going to be weird because now that Fizzer has West US completely defended, he's probably going to start moving in on Hawaii, so now Dr. D has to wait for that 17 stack to get over to Solomon Islands before he's able to do anything to
And
Fizzer.
while that's happening, he's trying to expand Kakasa's. He does have a 2 reinforcement advantage now.
And he's about to gain a 7 reinforcement advantage as soon as he gets Casas, because obviously Fizzer is not going to be able to get another bonus in that amount of time.
Okay, and in the next turn, we do see that Dr. D retreats from Hawaii as fast as he can to down to Solomon Islands.
Yeah, which was the best course of action here, knowing that his 17 stack is on its way.
And he gets 2 more territories in Caucasus, and he also starts working on Greenland a little bit. Probably starting to go down towards East US to threaten that.
Very interesting that Fizzer didn't advance in Hawaii, anticipating that Dr. D would move out, or he would actually be able to keep Dr. D there and kill those armies. So that's a missed opportunity, but it wouldn't have really helped had Fizzer not been able to catch the Dr. D armies.
Yep.
Fizzer says he didn't expect the retreat. I would have expected it, because he's got to wait for his armies in Borneo to catch up.
Yeah.
At this point, and so he has to get out of the way, or else he might lose that stack to Fizzer. So I thought him retreating was the best course of action.
Indeed, and then and then the next turn Fizzer takes it with 2 in Hawaii. But then Dr. D
has the Solomon Islands.
he had his guys set to transfer only to there, and so they didn't actually transfer.
Good, because well, even if he did attack/transfer, he still would have been able to hit. But I think he was anticipating that Fizzer would go full into.
Okay, and he deployed 14 of his 19 reinforcements there, and then transfers the 17 from Papua New Guinea there, so he's got 53 sitting there in Solomon Islands. I think that may have been a bit overkill.
A little bit.
I think he could have used those guys maybe to get East China or something.
Or expand more aggressively into Greenland. So at
And
this point,
then
we see that Fizzer is actually going to complete East US pretty soon, and he has a good foothold into Canada. So, but I think at this point, Dr. D has such an advantage that Fizzer is just not going to be able to come up with a victory.
indeed.
I think the army advantage here is just overkill from Dr. D's
Okay, he's got a
perspective.
40 or a 30 army advantage right now.
Dang, that's just overkill right there.
Yep. And so we do see that Fizzer does manage to mostly even out the reinforcement advantage by getting East US, but he still doesn't know that Dr. D is in Greenland. And then Dr. D does move up that 70, which, well, it's now a 70 because he put a lot of more guys there. So he's now got a second 70 in Hawaii.
A little bit overkill. He should have put a little bit into Greenland so that uh, he could prepare to counter Canada or take Greenland much faster. So,
Hmm.
very weird plays by Dr. D, even though he has the advantage.
Yeah, and then 13, we see his advantage, Dr. D's advantage of being one card piece ahead. Both of them deploy 22 on Hawaii or California. So we've now got a stack of 92 against a stack of 67. The 91 attack, but are repelled. Still a big stack of 46 sitting there, though.
I would like to say that the calculating the luck at this point, use analyze. Because there's just when you get stacks this big, it just starts getting crazy.
Oh, and if we look at the cumulative luck in the statistics, we see that Dr. D has a huge advantage in terms of luck so far in this game. That's interesting. And then offensively, yeah, most that's offense. He's actually got it both. Okay, so we do see that at this point Dr. D is finally moving down into Quebec. Yeah, and so now Fizzer finally knows that he's being threatened up in the north as well. And it appears that Dr. D is starting to expand to West China, and I guess he's using this guy to go into Africa or something slowly. Although I would probably expand to Greenland instead of West China. 14, turn 14, final turn. Fizzer getting his reinforcement card now. Yeah, X, that is, I've noticed that at this point too. And then putting in a wide variety of guys, upping Hawaii to 53 again. Ramming California, but getting repelled barely again. It's now 25 to 7. He moves to Ontario so we can touch a lot of parts of East US now, and gets in a position to finish West China. So at this point, he's in a positional advantage up here, touching a total of 5 territories of Fizzer, and Fizzer just really wouldn't. Absolutely, there's no way he could defend against this. It would just be practically impossible. And then he's also in a position to get this, while Fizzer's not in a position to get any more bonuses. He can't really expand very easily at all. The easiest thing would be North Africa, but that would take way too long and would be out of his way, and it would just be a simple move for Dr. D to move down into Egypt and threaten that. So Fizzer made a good call of surrendering now because he really had no good expansion points and he was just being threatened completely. Is Dr. D a multi? Let's see. Probably is. No? He's played 600 games. So that may not be a multi. That may just be someone who doesn't play super often or something. Or is not very active in the community. Or at least I've never seen a multi with nearly 700 games. Okay, well, that was a pretty good game. Dr. D managing to pull it out over Fizzer with those with managing to defend Thailand while breaking Queensland. That gave Dr. D an early advantage, and also the knowledge that he was in Cuba and Colombia let Dr. D know that he needed to come to Hawaii and threaten over here, and also move to Greenland to come up here. And while he had these safe bonuses in Asia, he was just able to threaten Fizzer without being threatened himself for most of the game. So, good game, Dr. D. Good game, Fizzer. Fizzer managing to advance to the next round, while Dr. D is unfortunate. Oh, sorry, said that backwards. Dr. D is advancing to the next round, while Fizzer is unfortunately being eliminated from the tournament.